Hey everybody, and welcome to Comics from the Future. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our bigger show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that you can pre-order by this weekend so you don't miss out on any of the comic goodness. And there's a lot of goodness this week, so head on over to infinityflux.net. You can follow along, place your pre-orders there. Everything you pre-order, you get 10% off of, and our eternal appreciation. So, yes. And we are forced to do that every time you do a pre-order.
Yep.
We get nothing done around
That's right.
here. But yes, so your pre-orders are due Sunday around 6 o'clock. So don't miss the deadline, and you are guaranteed everything that you pre-order. We've got some great books this week, some pretty big books, some long anticipated books.
And we say that every week. We got some great books this week, but it's true. Like every single week, there is just more good stuff. That's one of the reasons comics are great, because they're just awesome stuff every single week without fail. There's good stuff.
We talk about that. Sometimes you're looking forward to a movie, but it's like a year away.
Yeah.
Well, comics every week
there's something.
You get something. There's at least one thing that will pique your interest.
Yep.
So let's get into this week's comics, starting with our featured comics, and one I'm very much looking forward to.
Dazzler #1. This is the next of our From the Ashes era X books, although this one is going to be a mini-series. I want to say 4, maybe 5 issues, so this isn't an ongoing like, a lot of the other ones are. But this one is written by Jason Liu, the artist by Rafael Loureiro, and in this one, Dazzler embarks on a brand new world tour, which is the culmination of her entire musical career.
You might call it an Eras tour.
It could be. Maybe you shouldn't.
Maybe you shouldn't.
Legally you shouldn't. This sounds really cool, though. What I'm most interested in is the fact that she has a new road crew consisting of Domino, Strong Guy, and Multiple Man. So again, a little bit of old school X Factor, a little bit of old school X Force in there.
And how great to have Domino on your tour. You're like, I think probably every show is going to be a success.
Right. And then Strong Guy is a fantastic bouncer. I love Strong Guy. Don't know when the last time we saw him is. But there is a violent attack that happens that may derail her tour before it even begins. And it says that each issue features original song lyrics from Allie, or Allison, that's her name, from her notebook. So we're going to get a little, maybe a little peek into the inspiration behind her music, I guess. So yeah, if you're a big Dazzler fan, and good on Marvel for tricking us for a good part of the year, believing something else was going to happen with Dazzler, but maybe they were just leading all to this. So we have our A cover right here. We got a bunch of variants. There's an Ashley Witter variant. There is a blank variant. You said she's using her powers to really light up the place.
Yep.
There is a Derek Chu variant. There is an Elizabeth Torque Godzilla variant, and we're going to see a lot more of these Godzilla variants throughout the rest of the show. There's a Kari Andrews foil variant, and that one's my favorite right there. I love that look for Dazzler.
The classic look.
There's a logo variant, in case you don't know what Dazzler's logo looks like. And there is a Marguerite Savage window shades variant, which...
Yeah.
Wait, the window shades barely, it's just pulled off to the side.
Maybe knock and let her know that you're there.
Yeah.
Don't be creepy. Next up, we've got a new Universal Monsters book from Image and Skybound. This is Universal Monsters Frankenstein. We're hitting all the big ones. We got Dracula, then we got Creature from the Black Lagoon. Now we've got Frankenstein. This is going to be by Michael Walsh. And if you're not familiar, he did the anthology, kind of the horror... weird Silver Coin
which
series.
I loved. I would love for that to come back. Silver Coin was so good.
And this definitely has a flair of that, because each issue in this miniseries tells the shocking backstory of one of Frankenstein's monster's limbs, or a body part, and what's the history behind it, what all kind of came together to create this monster. So the first issue, the doctor is robbing the grave of a decorated police officer, but little does he know that the corpse has a son mourning a father, that this young boy will forever change Frankenstein's life. So it sounds like a little something happens here, and maybe it's going to play out later on.
I wonder if the final issue is going to be about Frankenstein's monster after it's all been combined, or maybe a few bits at the end are going to show, because if every book is about each limb, that sounds phenomenal, but when are we going to see Frankenstein's monster?
When they all get sewn together into... So this is... I think it's maybe going to have a kind of bookends to it that are going to have the monster. But I'm very excited about this. These Universal Monster books have been great so far. So we've got our A cover right here. We have a Middleton cover. And this is the Universal's monsters versions of the characters. So this isn't like the Mary Shelley novel. This is based off of the movie, which I think is cool, which is kind of the most recognizable version of those characters. So that's why he looks more flat top, green skin, all of that.
Bolts sticking out of his neck.
Yeah, and then we have a blank sketch variant where Dazzler blinded Frankenstein. Right. That's what all these blank covers are.
Yeah. Next is Marvel Zombies Dawn of Decay #1. This is going to be a 4-issue miniseries written by Thomas Krajewski and the artist by Jason Muir. And in this one, there is a new zombie virus that is unleashed, and Groot is patient zero. Things are already bad for Groot. They become worse for him when he sneezes in the face of Captain America, and that's
which you shouldn't do in general.
Right, and that's kind of what starts the whole thing.
How unpatriotic.
Yeah, right. And so, after that, suddenly he's being attacked by a group of zombified Avengers. I guess Captain America went and sneezed in everybody else's faces too, right? And only Groot and the Hulk are impervious because of their impervious skin. So the two of them are going to have to fight their way through a horde of zombies in New York City to try to get to Bruce Banner's lab so that they can find a cure. So yeah, just more Marvel Zombies fun. I don't know if this is going to super connect with all the other Marvel Zombie series, or if it's just going to kind of be its own thing. I'm not too sure about that one, but it sounds like a good time anyway.
This is almost more like Last of Us versions of zombies rather than like the Walking Dead zombies. These have more of a natural feel to them.
Yeah. So this is our A cover right here. We have the Sean Galloway Saturday Morning variant. That's a connecting one. There's a Ron Lim variant. I like that one a lot.
It looks like when they zombify, they kind of get like bark skin, kind of tree-like.
And there is a Woo homage variant to is that House of X #1?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a new Star Wars book. This is Star Wars: The Acolyte Kelnacca. This is going to be a one-shot by Kevin Scott and Mirka Cresta, and this is going to tell some of the backstory about the Wookiee Jedi from the show The Acolyte. I'm not sure exactly when this is going to take place. Is it just right before the events, while maybe he was in his hiding, or back when kind of the prime of him being Jedi, or all of the above?
I feel like it might be before the Acolyte, because a story of him after, when he was in hiding, he's just hanging out in the jungle.
It might be just him cooking.
Yeah, that's it.
But I'm very excited about this. His fight scene in the show was amazing.
Yeah.
It's such a cool character design, all of that. So if you want to get a little bit more backstory about the characters in Acolyte, check this one out. Also, I thought it was interesting. This also has an interview with the actor Jonas Sudermo, who plays Kelnacca. He also played Chewbacca in the sequel trilogy, and he's kind of taken on the role of all kind of Wookiee characters. So this actually has an interview in it as well, which will be really interesting. So we've got our A cover here by Phil Noto. We have a Takashi Okazaki variant, which I love that one. And we have a TV variant.
Next is Prairie Gods #1. This is going to be a 5-issue miniseries. This is written and drawn by Shane Connery Volk, and it's described as the Twilight Zone meets Sin City. And I think this one sounds cool. This is right up my alley. So this is another kind of sort of anthology horror book. Each issue is self-contained and centers around supernatural events and characters in the small town of Broadacres. And in this first issue, you see the guy on the cover. His name is Freddie Davis. He is a champion race car driver that comes home to Broadacres. He buys the abandoned speedway there, and his goal is to race the only undefeated driver, which is the devil himself. So I think that sounds cool. I have no idea what the other issues are. I guess I could have looked ahead more, but it just sounds like more, not necessarily horror, but just supernatural, kind of spooky anthology stories. I love that kind of stuff. So we have our A cover here by Sean Connery Volk. So that's what the inside of the book is going to look like. And then there is a Jason Sean Alexander book as well. Or cover.
Yeah, he does the cover.
Yeah.
Next up, we have What If Donald Duck Became the Mighty Thor? So this is hot on the heels of What If Donald Duck Became Wolverine, which was a big hit. It's a lot of fun. It's great seeing the kind of weird mashup universe. It's not just a find and replace with the Disney characters. Right. It's kind of a hybrid of the two, and it sounds like it's going to continue with this one. This is by Riccardo Secchi, and the art by Lorenzo Pastoravicchio, who I believe has been doing all of the Amazing Spider-Man variant covers, the Disney variant covers. So in this one, I mean, what it basically is Donald Duck the origin of Thor with Donald Duck. So he's on an archaeological dig. Donald and his nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, find more than they bargained for when they find a enchanted cane that transforms into a hammer and Donald into Thor. So I'm interested to see. There's always like little twist to this. Is Loki in here? Who's going to be Loki?
Yeah, all
There's
right.
some really fun stuff with the Wolverine one about Pluto was a really fun character, Goofy, all of that. So it's always fun to kind of discover how they tie the two worlds together. But like the other one, this is just a one shot, and I hope they continue with this. I hope they continue with other Disney characters as well.
Right.
I love a Mickey Captain America or something. But just keep exploring because it's
What they should have done is like, what if, and then a different character becomes a different character here, and then like bring it all together in like a Disney Avengers.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you can have that idea, Marvel.
But I imagine we're going to see more of these, but it just continues to be really, really fun. This is our A cover. We also have a Phil Noto variant. We have a Peach Momoko variant, which is really cool. We have, of course, a Scotty Young cover.
I like that one.
Yeah. And we have a Walt Simonson cover homaging his own cover of first appearance of Beta Ray Bill.
What if Donald Duck became Beta Ray Bill? Give me that story.
I mean, he's kind of already got the
beak,
the
yeah.
schnoz for it.
All right, so next is Absolute Power Task Force 7 number 5. Absolute Power number 2 proper comes out next week. We'll be talking about it on Monday. But this series has been really cool so far. This is written by Alex Packnadel and the artist by Pete Woods. And this focuses on the Amazo robot known as Velocity. So you might imagine that's the one that has stolen all of the powers of the Flash family, all the speedsters, except for Barry Allen. He is the only speedster left to still have his powers. And he's going to have to keep moving to avoid capture from Velocity. But he's also, and we saw a little bit of this, I think, in Absolute Power number 1, he's also acting as a one-man communications network for all of the remaining heroes to stay in touch. So since they can't, like, call each other or FaceTime or whatever, they're like, hey, Barry, tell Batman this. And he runs and tells Batman and brings a message back. And it's almost as fast as actually talking on the phone. So, yeah, this has been a cool series so far. So I can't wait to see, how Barry is doing in all this. And I like the design for that Amazo, too. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So this is our A cover. We have a Salvador LaRocca variant. There is a Taran Clark variant. There's a Stephen Platt variant. And we've had one of these on each issue so far. Hal Jordan was the last one. There's a John Timms Connecting variant. That's more. That looks cool.
I want a team with its Barry, Wally, Martian Manhunter, and Aquaman.
Yeah.
That's a great team.
That's awesome. And then there's a Dan Mora foil variant. These are the ones I've been getting, and they look fantastic.
Next up, we have a new book from Image called Convert. This is by John Arcudi, and the art is by Savannah Finley. This is a mini-series, and not a whole lot of information. I feel like this is definitely selling a lot with the style initially, because this is about a science officer who finds himself stranded on a distant planet after something horrible went wrong with their ship, and he's haunted by the ghost of his dead crew. I don't know if that's actual ghosts or just kind of the pain of the loss of the crew. But when he's on the verge of death because of starvation and, out in the extremities and everything, he makes an astonishing discovery. And I've seen a few of the sample pages of this, and there is the final page. You do see something really odd, but I don't know how to interpret it. For this, it'll be interesting to read it and find out how what I saw in that affects his livability on this planet and everything. So, really interesting one there, and it's just the one cover.
Next is a book called Summer Shadows. This is the first of I'm not sure how many issues this is going to be, but this is written by John Harris Dunning and the art is by Ricardo Cabral. And in this book, it features a guy named Nick Landry. He is looking for his ex-boyfriend on the Greek island of Avraxos. And he doesn't know why his boyfriend left, but he can't move on because he doesn't have that closure, right? Well, meanwhile, the Coast Guard is also investigating the disappearance of another young man from the same island. And what they find out is that before vanishing, both of these young men fell in with the glamorous jet set type crowd aboard a sleek super yacht called the Nix. Which, so you said earlier, this kind of sort of sounds a little bit like the White Boat from Distillery, but that's not a bad thing because that first issue was awesome. So, what is it about? Is there something up with this boat? Who are these group of people that these young men fell in with? And will they be able to find them? in time before something bad happens. Not that we're assuming anything bad's happening. Maybe they're just having a party. But this is the only cover we have.
Next up, we have The Ultimates #4. This is, of course, not an issue 1, 2, or 3,
Yep.
but we still wanted to talk about it. One, because this is a great series. I'm very excited about where it's going, especially with this cover with the Fantasta rats, I guess. The
Rat-tastic Four.
The Rat-tastic Four sells itself. This issue spotlights Dr. Doom, the Reed Richards Dr. Doom, after his years of torture by the Maker. And we learn the secret history of this Reed Richards, and Doom gets fixated on recreating the life he should have had. Which, the life Doom should have had, is that the Reed Richards life, or is that the Doom life? Well, I'm not sure.
Probably the Reed Richards life, because he is Reed Richards, so it's probably like the.
But it might be a little warped. But we also wanted to spotlight this, because we don't do a lot of, like, speculation or anything. But the writer, Denise Camp, has been really doubling down on the idea. If you saw, of course, everyone saw that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to the MCU playing Doctor Doom. He said that will all make more sense with this issue. Yeah. So what does that mean? I don't know, but it does definitely intrigue me even more about, is it kind of in like style-wise how it's going to be with someone else taking up the mantle of Doom, or is it way more a one-for-one comparison? We don't know, but that's why we wanted to mention this one.
Yeah, and when that news first dropped on Saturday night at Comic-Con, he actually tweeted about that not too long after. He's like, if you want to understand how this is possible or what this means, read Ultimates #4 in September. And I thought maybe, maybe he was joking or whatever. And as more news outlets started to pick up what he said, I thought he might say, guys, I was just kidding, whatever. But he's actually sort of doubling down. Is like, yeah, check this out. If you're interested in a different Doom, check this out. So again, we're not saying that this is going to explain exactly what's going to happen in the movie. It just, like you said, it might just be more of a story about somebody other than Victor Von Doom being Doom.
And maybe how that can happen.
How it can happen, what it's like. So take it with a grain of salt, but it is coming direct from the writer, and that is the horse's mouth right there. So I definitely want to. It's gonna read it anyway because it's a great book. But there's just that little extra bit of what does that mean exactly? We don't know, but we'll find out.
So, with all that being said, we've got our A cover right here, which is great. I would love to see a whole book with these mice going up against Mole Man. It's an actual mole. Yeah. It writes itself.
Yeah, it's easy.
We also have this really nice Inyuk Lee variant, which the blue with Doom is a really cool look.
That's one of the reasons I used to love Doom 2099.
Yeah.
Because he had blue with the silver armor.
We also have a Rod Rice cover, which you see the Maker there kind of messing with Reed Richards. And we have a Wes Craig connecting variant, which this is going to be one of your big artists for the Absolute universe.
Right, yeah, we don't know which
Craig,
one. Yeah.
The one-shot that's going to be kicking off
the flip book,
is going to be this artist.
Was the one where the Maker was like a hood? Was that an incentive?
I don't know if it's incentive or a retailer exclusive or what, but yeah, I did see that one floating around. Okay. But way to just, bring up something really cool that we don't have.
Yeah, right. Well, I was confused. I thought that last one was going to be it.
No, but there's some really cool covers out there for that issue and a lot of really mysterious stuff.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize that we had moved on. This is Transformers #1, the 40th anniversary edition. This is just a one-shot that is a new printing of the original Transformers #1 from Marvel Comics way back in, I can't remember the year, early 90s. I think it was maybe 83, 84, right in there somewhere. But yeah, this is just a reprinting of it. And one thing that's cool about this is it's going to be printed on newsprint, on actual newsprint paper, just like the original was. So if you never read that, or if you want to just relive the glory days of the 80s, I definitely pick this up. So there is our Bill Sienkiewicz A cover, and then there's a new cover by, is that Christian Ward?
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice how they sort of mirror each other, but just Decepticons swapped out.
And I like they did this with G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, where they did the classic one with Joe, but then the variant was Cobra in the same thing. So this is really cool. I really like this. Next up, we've got Flash Gordon Quarterly #1. So this is a series that will, like it says, be coming out quarterly. And in this, it's going to be a couple of different stories. The main one is written by Dennis Culver, and the first one ties in with the ongoing Flash Gordon series a little bit more, called The Fall of King Vulcan, and it just expands on some of the stuff we've been reading about and fills in maybe some of the side characters. But also, we're going to get some multiverse tales in the Flash Gordon universe, starting with a Western.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool to see that interpreted through, some gunslinging
Yep.
Flash Gordon, and also a detective kind of noir story. So we don't know a lot of the details about those, but it's going to be really cool to see this Flash Gordon universe really build out.
Yeah. And what a crazy time, because we now have 3 Flash Gordon books. Flash Gordon, this, and the Defenders of the Earth, which Defenders of the Earth is its own separate thing, not connected to the others, but this will be connected with the new Flash Gordon series. But yeah, just, wow. Flash Gordon with 3 titles in 2024, cool. Yeah.
So we've got our A cover right here, and we have a Brakdukin variant, which definitely gives a lot of Mobius vibes.
Yeah. Next is the Moon Knight annual for this year. This is part 7 of the Infinity Watch storyline. And this one sounds interesting because it says that Colleen Wing is newly bonded to an Infinity Stone, and Star, you see her on the cover there, is hot on her trail. Colleen Wing, we just saw her in the Blood Hunt Amazing Spider-Man tie-in, and she didn't have an Infinity Stone, so I don't know when. I guess maybe that happens in this book. And which stone is it going to be? I have no idea, because I thought they were all already spoken for. Maybe it's the Reality Stone, and maybe that's why Star is chasing her. I have no idea. But it says, will her lack of control over her new powers create another enemy for herself? And also, she's going to run into Moon Knight, because this is a Moon Knight annual.
Oh, yeah, and Moon Knight's there.
Yeah, Moon Knight's there, too. But so just another part of the Infinity Watch storyline. I've been enjoying it, even though it's one story. Each part has kind of read like a one and done. So nice job putting this together. And here it is. This is our A cover, and there's an Ivan Shavrin variant.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, Matt, I'm a little lost. Could you tell me how am I the directions would say how you could get to Sesame Street? I was thinking about that for way too long before this.
You're plotting.
I was not present for most of that last one because I was thinking about this.
Well, how can we work this in? Yeah.
Okay, so this is really cool. There is a new Sesame Street book from Oni, and it does say this is for all ages, but I don't think it's just like little kids.
Yeah.
Because if you know Sesame Street, you know the Henson Company. There's definitely stuff for everybody in there. There's a fantastic episode of Sesame Street where they go to a convention, like a Comic-Con, but it's all for letters.
Okay.
And like all the letters have booths and stuff. I watched it, I was like, you actually nailed what this is. So this sounds really fun. If you are a fan of Sesame Street, you've got kids that are fans of Sesame Street, we've got a new series. I don't know if this is a mini-series or an ongoing, but this is going to be by Joey Esposito, and the art is by Austin Beekle, I guess. And this first issue focuses on Grover doing what he does best, giving a helping hand. But knowing Grover, he's going to end up with like a bucket of paint on his head or something.
Now, when this comes out, we will be sure to tell you the difference between this version and the red band Sesame Streets.
Yeah, it might not be super clear. It'll be polybagged, right. But we'll let you know.
Probably a little bit more violent.
That's why we're here. So we've got some variant covers for this one as well. So this is our A cover by the interior artist. We also have one by Hunting, which you got Oscar the Grouch on there, which is just,
Scram.
When you get older, you relate to him so much.
People don't say scram enough. I'm going to try to bring that back.
No, scram. And then we have, this is really cool. DC did this years ago, but this is a coloring book sketch variant, which if it's like the DC one, it's the paper that's made from is a little bit more, it's got a little more grit to it to like pick up the color. It's thicker. So this just fits perfect with Sesame Street, and check it out. I'm going to read it. So
I want to get that so that I can color, because, nowadays it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do anything to my comic. But when I was a kid, sure, everybody was drawing on comics. I want to get that for the purpose of coloring it.
Yeah. Get this, take it to a con and find, I don't know, like Alex Sinclair.
Yeah.
Or, get a really big color. So will you color this and get the most amazing cover ever? Next up, we got notable 2s and 3s continuations of series that either started or are about to start, or we don't know when they start. But we're talking about the 2s and 3s of them. starting with Flash Gordon. So this is issue number 2 of Flash Gordon. I just read, since I was out of town when number 1 actually came out, I just read number 1 yesterday, and I loved it. I loved the free comic book day book, and it is so cool. Also, just be introduced to this world that I'm vaguely familiar with, but I don't know all the intricacies of it. But in the first one, we saw Flash Gordon. He's really in a bad place where he's been captured. He's tied down. They feed him through like injections. It's really dark. And we find out he is trapped on planet Death. And he learns in that first issue that the love of his life, Dale, there's an assassination attempt out for her, and so he's going to do whatever he can to escape planet Death and save her.
The first issue was great because a lot of it was an escape story.
Yeah.
And I love stories of prison escapes and that kind of thing, and that's what a lot of the first one was.
Yeah, it was very like biding your time, waiting for the exact moment to act. He had someone else tied up next to him.
You got to pull the right people in, and
So really cool. I suggest if your store still has some Flash Gordon number 1, check it out. You might be introduced to a whole new world that you can't wait to check out.
Just a good like action adventure story.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
So this is our A cover for that, and we have a Fraser Irving connecting variant.
Next is Spawn Kills Every Spawn, number 2. And again, this is going to be a 5-issue miniseries. Now, there's not a lot of information about this issue specifically. The solicitation just gives more of a general idea about what the overall series is, with Lil Spawn, declaring war on all other spawns. But it does say that none of them are safe, and none of them will ever laugh at him again, because that's what made him mad in the first place. Nobody really took him seriously. Nobody cared to get his autograph at SpawnCon or whatever.
That's my favorite part.
That 2-page spread was really nice. So the first issue was just really fun. The artwork was fun, and the colors are really cool. So this is going to be just more of that. So we have our A cover here, and then there is a Ben Templesmith variant.
It's cool to see Ben Templesmith do something kind of cute.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Venom War number 2. Now, Venom War number 1, we've been talking about it forever with all its tie-ins and everything. Yeah. It's finally time for Venom War. It comes out next week, number 1. So we'll know more details in it. But what we basically know is it's going to be kind of the contest to see who is going to be the ultimate Venom. And we've got Eddie versus his son Dylan. But a new challenger has entered the ring, and that is Peter Parker, the Amazing Spider-Man. Because let's not forget, he's the OG wearer of the symbiote suit. And so how he plays into this, I'm not quite sure. But Meridius also unleashes his zombiotes, which we talked about are getting their own mini-series, and it kind of kicks off in this issue. So, and check this out. This is really, really cool. So this is our A cover. And then we have a Chris Jerusalem here, which is like the same concept, but with the 2 different styles. I think this is awesome. I think with something like this, you need to get both covers because it's so cool how they mirror each other. We also have a Clayton Crane variant since that movie trailer, we love seeing Venom riding a horse. We also have a
Venom riding a horse. We'll see that in Venom 3.
That's what I was saying. Since that trailer, it's all about Venom on a horse. We have a Luciano Vecchio Team Dylan variant and a Team Eddie variant.
Interesting.
So choose your side. Yeah. We have a Peach Momoko variant, which is really cool. It gives me very like Hellraiser vibes with that one. And, of course, a Scotty Young cover.
You got to have that. Well, I'm going to be honest and say, while you were going over that, I realized that the notes that I made for this, I accidentally looked at Venom War number 2 instead of this, which is Venom War Spider-Man number 2. So I had to pull it up here real fast so that I could get the correct notes. But this one does say, of course we know Venom War is Eddie and Dylan Brock fighting each other, so that's going on over there. But it says that Venom has already chosen his first host, Peter Parker, right? Because like you said, Peter is the OG wearer of the suit. But this time, Peter and the symbiote are working together. And with Mary Jane, a.k.a. Jackpot, on his side, Spidey might be the one true victor in the Venom War. This is going to be written by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, and the art is by Greg Land, which I just read. I'm in the middle of the King in Black Omnibus, and I read the Symbiote Spider-Man King in Black series. That was also drawn by Greg Land. That series is really cool.
It is really cool.
There's like all kinds of different characters that you wouldn't normally think would be together. That was great.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about this. Of course, we all think it's cool when Spider-Man wears the black costume, but the fact that he's kind of taking it back on and
embracing it
is a really cool idea.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was glad I was able to find that fast because I made notes for the wrong book. But yes, this is Venom War Spider-Man #2. Going to be a 4-issue tie-in series. This is our A cover. That is Greg Land. And then that is Mark Bagley right there. So that looks really, really cool.
That's really cool.
And I like the new look of the black suit.
Yeah, it does. It's Spider-Man, but a little bit more Venom.
Yeah, the white fingers. I like the white outline of the boots.
Is cool too. Yeah.
Like, I'm interested. I want to check this out.
It's had an upgrade since last he wore it. Next up, we have Kid Venom #2. I'm telling you, there's a lot of Venom coming out.
We're going to change the show's name to Venom of the Future instead of Comics from the Future.
And I think that's also a thing.
That's right.
Venom. So in Kid Venom #2, can the mysterious item Kintaro that he found hold the key to the multiverse? And if you read #1, you know what that item is. And I don't want to give it away, but it definitely was kind of like out of left field. And really raised a lot of questions for Kid Venom and the world he lives in.
Yeah.
And
I turned that page and they showed what it was. I was like, how in the world does he have that?
Yeah, so maybe we'll start getting a backstory about how that item ended up where it was. We'll talk about it without being cryptic for future issues. But for this one, if you haven't read it, still want to keep it under wraps. So we've got our A cover for this one. We have a Peach Momoko variant. We have a Philip Tan homage variant.
I like that one.
Yeah, that one's very cool. That is a long old tongue. And we have a Stan Sakai variant.
Next is Hello Darkness #2. The first issue was great. Another sort of horror anthology book. I love those. This one is going to have, each issue has 3 or 4 different anthology stories. This one's going to have stories from Garth Ennis, James Tynion, Andy Lanning, and then the artists by Becky Cloonan, Werther Dell'Edera, and Trevor Hairston. So obviously the James Tynion, Werther Dell'Edera, the first 6 issues they have a new Something is Killing the Children story. I think is like the last thing in the book. But in this book, we also get a story called Apocalypse in Slow Motion, which is about capitalist pigs getting put in their place. There's a story called Stargazers that explores the unexpected horrors of blind dates. There's a story called The Clown, which is described as just straight up nightmare fuel, which clowns are. We all agree with that. And it also has the second installment of a story called The War. This one is from Garth Ennis and Becky Cloonan that ratchets up the nervous tension surrounding a world on the brink of nuclear war. I actually don't remember that in the first issue. I had to double check to make sure I wasn't looking at like #3 or something. Yeah. So I want to go back and look at that. But Garth Ennis, Becky Cloonan, awesome duo right there. And just more horror anthology. I could take all this that they can give me. This is our A cover right here. We have a Jenny Frison cover. And there is a Tula Lotay cover.
Very creepy.
Very creepy.
Next up, we have Absolute Power Origins #2 of 3. Which is so weird how we're talking about these and... it feels like the main Absolute Power story is, it's only 4 issues.
Right.
So we're getting a lot of this, but, towards the second half of Absolute Power, I'm wondering what kind of stories we're going to be getting. Yeah. So this one, I haven't read the first issue. I know about it, where this tells the origin of Amanda Waller and why she is so against...
Yeah. It's a lot like an Amanda Waller Year 1.
Yeah, kind of. Why she's so against vigilantes, superheroes, all of that, because of a huge loss she had in her life and kind of her declaration of no more vigilantes. Plus, in this one, because it is kind of a Year 1, we see her launch Task Force X, which I think is going to be really cool to see kind of the creation of the team and everything.
Yeah, because in the first issue, she wasn't to that level yet where she could do something like that.
And I've sampled some pages of this one, and it definitely harkens to some also recent miniseries that use some of those characters. That's really cool. Some characters you don't expect to see. So we've got our A cover here, and we have a Manhanini variant as well.
Next up is Nice House by the Sea #2. The first one was really cool. In this issue, tensions inside the house are rising. And just real quick, what's great about this series is that this takes place 2 years after the very beginning of Nice House on the Lake #1. So in this book, everybody in it already knows everything. So there's no secrets. The story isn't about them discovering everything. They already know what's happened to the world. They already know that their host is otherworldly. They know what the deal is. But yeah, tensions are rising in the house. There are resentments that are simmering to the surface. We saw a little bit of that in the first issue. But then it sounds cool because it says the residents need something to unite around. an adorable dog is just the thing, right? They can be trusted to love an innocent animal, right? Like, so it's like, oh, they get a dog, but maybe they shouldn't get a dog. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. But this is our A cover right here. We have a Javi Fernandez variant, and there's a Joshua Hickson variant. There's the dog right there. Oh, that looks like my dogs I used to have on set.
Way to bring it down.
Right.
Next up, we've got cool covers, starting with Zatanna Bring Down the House number 3 of 5. This series continues to be really cool and very trippy, weird, but we are continuing on. In this one, Zatanna faces what the rabbits call the Destroyer of Souls. So find out what all of that means in this issue. This is our A cover. We also have this fantastic Terry Dodson B cover, which is very like the poster you'd see in Vegas for her show. And then we also have this Tula Lotte variant.
Next up is Flash number 12. We wanted to show you this awesome Superpowers cardstock variant. This is by Jason Geyer and Alex Saviuk, who did the artwork on the card there. And in this issue, the Flash family reunites for a final stand against the Archangels, but will it be enough to stop them? So I love these. This is my child. That is my childhood right there, complete with the faux KB Toys tag and everything. I love that. I've been getting all of those. So there's that one, and then there's a Mirka Andolfo swimsuit variant. I'm pretty sure he can outrun the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's right at the beginning of the running.
Right.
Unless they're speedster dolphins,
Yeah,
which
true.
is a great story. Next up, we have Gotham City Sirens number 4 of 4. This is the final issue of the miniseries. How's everybody been enjoying it? Oh, wait, it's not out yet.
It's not out yet.
It comes out next week. So I feel like we'll be able to actually talk about what the story is, everything, next week, by the time this is already wrapping up.
Which seems weird, but it's weekly.
It's weekly.
So the first issue comes out next week, and then week, and then we're at this one. So that's why.
Yeah. So the solicitation for this never changed from the first one. So that's also nice. It doesn't give away too much about what's going to be happening for a weekly series. You're going to find out soon enough, anyways. But I'm very excited about this. It's got great covers. I've seen some interior art that look great. So just wanted to tell you, if you are planning on reading Gotham City Sirens when it comes out, already be looking towards pre-ordering the final issue of it as well. We've got our A cover here by Terry Dodson. We have a Scott Forbes variant. We've got a Ji-Hung Lee variant. And we have the last Gilliam March variant, which is the non-foil version of the one that you could pre-order a few weeks ago.
Next up is Detective Comics number 1088. We wanted to show you this awesome Chris Samney Batman 85th anniversary cover, which is also an homage to the classic Mike Mignola cover. I don't remember which issue that was.
I don't remember. I own it because I buy it every time I see it.
Yeah. So lots of stuff going on this cover. And in this one, the Dark Knight against everything. The end is nigh, and nothing can prepare you for what's to come in the penultimate chapter of Ron V's Gothic opera, because Ron V is hopping off the book with issue 1089. And then after that, we know that Tom Taylor and Mikkel Janin, I believe, is taking over. Is that right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And then Ramvi is he's got the New Gods series.
New Gods, yeah. So lots of stuff happening very, very soon with DC. But yeah, this is the really cool Chris Samney variant.
Yeah, so we're talking about September books here.
That's right.
And so pretty soon we're going to be talking about the big October books in upcoming installments of our show. So I can't wait for that.
Yeah, so this one's August 28th, but tail end of August.
Yeah.
Ron V's last issue is going to be in September, and then we roll into October, all in, the absolute stuff.
Yeah.
Big things for DC in October.
Next up, just want to show another one of these really cool action figure variants for Power Girl number 12. And I love this too because they're ones that we never actually got.
Yeah.
And so you see these like, oh yeah, I'd get a Power Girl. That's awesome.
Which, it says Toy Otter on the tag. Toy Otter is an Instagram account that has made a bunch of these over the last couple of years, and you can actually follow them on Instagram and see, like, they've made a ton of these.
Every character you can imagine.
And they look phenomenal. And it looks like this, where it's all 3D sculpted, but it looks real.
Yeah.
And I love looking at
Occasionally, I get caught off guard and think it's like McFarlane making these, and I'm like, oh man, they're making a Wildcat, and then oh no, that's
right. It's like, bummer. That's just a 3D model.
Yeah, definitely hire them because they are great.
Next up is Green Arrow number 15. We wanted to show you this Tar and Clark variant. This is an Absolute Power tie-in, and in this one, the Arrow family is in a battle above the skies as they try to prevent Waller's task force from getting to Professor Ivo. So the last issue was really cool because it was neat seeing the entire family together, and we're going to get more of that in this, and it's going to have this awesome variant.
Next up, we got another awesome variant. This is for Daredevil number 13. This is the Gabriel Del Otto variant, which I really like the style of this, especially with him like wrapping his hands and everything.
Yeah.
But in this one, a new enemy may break up Elektra and Matt's partnership, not only their relationship, but also their Daredevil team. So we'll have to find out what happens in it, but also a really cool cover.
And issue 12 comes out next week if you're, trying to keep up with everything, so it's not too far off. Next up is Immortal Thor, number 15. The solicitations for this one are always a little bit tricky to interpret because it's written as like, this is the story of Thor doing this thing. But in this one, it just, what I could ascertain from it was a deep darkness threatens to claim Thor, and it's one that only he himself can defeat. And it does say, return to Asgard. We've got the Enchantress back in Asgard, so there's stuff going on there too. But we wanted to show you this awesome Pablo Villalobos variant, and also the Jonas Scharf Godzilla. Give me that story right there. Give me Godzilla versus Thor. Holy cow. And make it look just like that.
Yeah, that's epic. That gives me very like Daniel Warren Johnson vibes too.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we've got Incredible Hulk number 16. Just wanted to show you another awesome cover. This is the Edwin Gallman Disco Dazzler variant. So they are doing all these Dazzler covers, I guess, for the miniseries that they're doing.
We had a different reason why we thought maybe they were doing it.
I would have lost a lot of money on a bet if that was the case. We were flat wrong. Mm-hmm. But these are still really cool. I love Dazzler and I love She-Hulk, and this is a cool look, and I love those pants.
But how dare you, Marvel, for canceling Sensational She-Hulk, but then giving us a cover of another book with She-Hulk? Because when I saw this, I was like, oh, sweet, Sensational She-Hulk is back. Nope. So bring that book back.
Yeah, please bring She-Hulk back in some way. I know she's going to be in a new Avengers book, but she deserves her own ongoing.
For sure. Next up is Miles Morales, number 24. This is another Godzilla variant by Romy Jones. And in this one, Miles is now a vampire, I guess, for at least a little while. And his vampiric infection threatens to transform him into a bloodthirsty creature of the night. And his first victim could be the Vulture, which is not great because he's dating the Vulture's daughter. Or is it granddaughter? I don't remember which.
Granddaughter.
Granddaughter? Yeah, I think so.
That'd be awkward.
Yeah. Oh, sorry I ate your dad, but he was tasty. But yeah.
Also, Miles is not helping the situation here.
Oh, by tagging
the
Godzilla?
flames are going up and everything. Yeah. He's like, I tagged shoulder.
Yeah. Selfie. I'm getting a selfie while Godzilla tramples New York.
Or did he... did he spray paint that whole picture? Or is there actually Godzilla?
I like to think that he swung up to Godzilla and tagged his arm. And
that's what I initially thought, but now with that bottom, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got another one. This is for Spider-Boy number 11. This is by Lee Garbett. So Lee Garbett, Godzilla variant, which is really cool. This has a lot of cool style to it. But in this one, Bailey has to head back to school. So I feel like we're going to get a little bit of that Spider-Man in school vibe from really early days of Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that.
We always had Peter in high school, but not earlier than that. Yeah. So that'll be really cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Next up is... Rook Exodus number 5. I love this book. This is great. In this one, Rook faces his greatest fear as the entire animal world completely turns against him. We've seen that he's had some trouble controlling his birds over the last couple issues. And what does Ursaw plan to do with the item that he obtained in last issue? I won't tell you what it is, but it doesn't spell... It's not good for the other wardens around the planet that he got that. So we'll maybe see him do something with that. And this is our B cover by Jason Fabot.
Next up, we got graphic novels and more, like facsimiles, reprints, all that good stuff. Starting with, this is interesting. This is Mirka and Andolfo Hot Paprika, not Sweet Paprika. This is Hot Paprika Omnibus hardcover. This collects issues 1 through 12 of the series, so you can get it all in one. This is a really fun series. Mirka Andolfo is fantastic. Great sense of humor, awesome style. And this is going to be $59.99. It is a hardcover.
Next is the Teen Titans Starfire trade paperback or maybe more like a young adult graphic novel. Yeah. And it's going to be $16.99. It's written by Cami Garcia and the art is by Gabriel Piccolo. And in this one, Corey Anders, these young adult graphic novels are their own thing, their own continuity. In this one, Corey Anders has a summer job at a ritzy Santa Monica beach club, but she's not interested in the same things as all the other girls her age. She would rather explore her obsession with the stars. Basically, she feels drawn to the stars and she wants to explore that with her friend Victor Stone, which sounds really cool. But she has a sister, Kira, who is her opposite in every way. She is into all of that kind of stuff that other young girls are into, but Corey gets asked to join a study that's conducted by a pharmaceutical company, and during that she develops these strange powers, but she might not be the only one who gets them. So that's how, I don't know if she's going to wind up being an alien like she is in the other books or what. We'll have to see.
Yeah, Starfire, and maybe her sister becomes Blackfire.
Yeah, maybe.
These are really popular, of course. We had the Raven, Beast Boy.
And then Raven and Beast Boy, right?
Raven and Beast Boy. Yeah. They're continuing these. These are huge sellers. These are probably some of DC's biggest selling books. Yeah. I know a lot of people don't really think about them, but they are huge. So check them out. They do great work with their young adult graphic novels. Yeah. Next up, we've got a facsimile. This is of Uncanny X-Men 274. Well, for one, this is a classic cover. It's the Savage Land. This is where we get the Savage Land Rogue, which is kind of an iconic look for Rogue. I'm
not familiar with it.
I've never seen it. There's pictures. There's also, this is kind of dealing with the Magneto-Rogue relationship that we saw in X-Men 97 that a lot of people were like, oh, that's weird. It's like, no, this has a lot of basis in the comics where they did have kind of a fling. Of course, you got Kazar there, you got Nick Fury, and you just have a good time. Plus this classic Jim Lee cover. Yeah.
Well, next is one that I'm very excited for. This is all new collector's edition number 56, facsimile edition, otherwise known as Superman versus Muhammad Ali. Now, this is going to be $14.99, but this is going to be reprinted in the original size, which back then they were big. I mean, they were much bigger.
Size. Yeah, they're big boys.
And so there's going to be a nice reprint. I don't think I haven't read it in the original size before, so it's going to be really cool to see that. And they're going to give us this nice, obviously the cover's by Neil Adams, but then they're also doing a foil version of that too, and there is going to be a blank variant, and you can draw whoever you want to win that fight. But I'm super excited for this. I love these classic Treasury size editions getting reprinted in the original size.
It's exciting just to see them be like, ooh, look how big it is.
Yeah, we had one recently, the Batman, the Ra's al Ghul story drawn by Neil Adams. That one looked great. I can't wait to get this one.
And that is it for Comics from the Future. Thank you so much for watching. Dude, want to tell you, we started our new show this week. It is our letters page show. Now, we had kind of a special...
like a pilot.
A pilot episode. It was mostly talking about San Diego Comic-Con and introducing the show. But we are going to kind of start on our regular scheduled programming coming up. So you'll get actually a extra video. Yeah. Usually it's going to be every other week, but this time we're going to have two back-to-back.
Back-to-back, yeah.
So for that show, you can leave us your questions in the comments of this video. Any of the videos, we'll make sure to check them out. And we may respond to yours. That's what the letters page show is all about.
Yeah. And it's live on YouTube. It's live on TikTok. It's interactive. So while you're talking to us in the chat, we can talk to you while you're watching. So, these videos are pre-recorded. It's just, a one-way street basically. But this new letters page show, it's our chance to talk to you in real time while we're doing it.
So go check that out. The first video is up. There was a little technical difficulties with it, but it was a pilot episode of it, and we're working that out for the future ones. And for this show, definitely head over to infinityflux.net. Get your pre-orders in by Sunday around 6 o'clock so you don't miss out on any of these books we talked about. Super easy over on infinityflux.net to click, add the books that you want, and everything that you pre-order you get 10% off of. And all that good stuff. Stay tuned for our show coming up on Monday where we're going over all of the books, the key books that are coming out next week. And there's some great ones. Absolute Power #2, Gotham City Sirens #1,
Venom War #1. We'll finally see what this is all about.
So stay tuned for that show to find out a little bit more about what books are coming out.
Oh, Uncanny X-Men, Gail Simone and David Marquez. That's
huge
the big one for next week.
Yeah, very excited about that one. So, come back for that one. Make sure to subscribe, all of that, so you don't miss any of our videos. And I think that's it for us. So, until next time, see ya.